Raised Rowdy.
Dude, well, welcome to the Raised Rowdy podcast, Rotundo. It's so good to have you here. I'm holding your hands now. Yay. Hey, Nick, how are you today?
Hi, we're good friends, and we're here on our first ever adventure in the new studio.
And it's sick, by the way, y'all.
Yeah, it's luxurious, and we put up some stuff on the walls to make it look very better.
Professional.
It's
yes.
super high dollar.
Yeah.
I've really been digging the new shit that you're putting out.
Thank
I think
you,
it's
bro.
great. I mean, I could see myself making a baby to some of it, which I think is great. No,
Not with you.
With the lady, maybe.
Suit yourself.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how that baby would work. I don't know. Yeah.
You ever seen that Arnold Schwarzenegger movie?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah. Kind of like that, I guess.
Yeah. You've been debunked.
Yeah.
But thanks, bro. It's felt really good. It's been an interesting process coming out of being in a duo and now being solo, and because part of that is figuring out exactly what your sound is.
Yeah.
So I feel like I was able to do that honestly a little quicker than I thought I was going to be able to, and I feel like I've been able to search for the depth in songwriting more, and I don't know, I feel like I'm writing better songs than I ever have. You know what I mean?
I
Like,
agree.
just from a writing standpoint, so it's been fun, bro. It's been fun.
What was the first song that you put out?
Break Even.
Okay. I was listening to it today, and I had this idea for a song. And tell me if this has been done, because there's a line about Carhartt in there, right?
Yeah.
What's the line in your song?
You can keep my Carhartt hoodie left in.
Okay, has anyone written like an early 2000s like Brad Paisley song about she broke my Carhartt, like a breakup song?
Dang. Extra corny, but
Yeah,
honestly, it might work.
But I mean, not in a good way, but like in like
Yeah.
a Fort Worth Ferguson kind of a thing. Is that a thing? Has someone done that?
I have no idea. I mean, we could every time I have a good idea and I wonder if somebody's done it, I Spotify it and then get my heart broke.
Yes.
Get my
Okay.
car heart broke.
Yeah.
I'll tell you one thing though, no matter if they have or not, we can do it and it'll go on the same EP as Beer Pressure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One night stand, dude.
Yeah.
Which beer pressure have you written? There's 17 versions.
Dude, sometimes like when I'm at a write and I'm just scouring my notes and looking at my ideas, there's some that I see that just make me hate myself.
Oh, all of mine are so bad.
Like, oh my God,
The
dude.
worst.
I would love to have an album where every song's all the same title and it's 10 different artists with 10 versions of the same song.
I've always wanted to play a writer's round and play the same song in a different key every time.
Okay, I have this idea this is my bad idea. I go to Writer's Round and I sing a song that like people kind of know but isn't a hit, and I'm like, yeah, I'm on this, but I'm not, and just lie to people.
Yeah.
But also I forgot I'm not a good singer, so I haven't done that yet. So.
You ever seen those people like the listening room? That'll be like, yeah, you guys like Jason Aldean? And they're like, yeah. And they're like, all right, well, me too. Yeah. Anyways, here's one of my songs. Like, boo. You suck, dude. You suck.
I love Jordan Regger's one. He's like, this like famous Jason Aldean song? He's like, yeah, mine's the one before that on the record.
Yeah. No shit, dude. Oh my gosh, man. It's so funny, like, to see man, you always think that everyone gets so lucky, right? Like, it's easy from afar to be like, oh man, that dude's got 5 number ones, but it's crazy because I mean, you have to get you do have to get lucky, but dude, there's so much that goes into it.
Yeah.
I mean, really, these days, I can't remember whose podcast I was listening to. It might have been that 10 Year Town guys.
Oh, yeah.
Or Raised Rowdy's podcast. You never know.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
But specifically, this piece, I scrolled by it, and he was saying that how funny it is, back in like the 90s and 2000s, an album cut paid what a number one does.
Yeah.
And I mean, if you had a number one back then, you are that is lightning in a bottle, buddy. Like,
Yeah.
you are striking gold. But you could sustain yourself off album cuts, right? Well, these days, no, you just have to catch lightning in a bottle over and over and over again. Like, dude, I mean, how, like Luke Combs' new record that's coming out. You know what I mean? Or excuse me, maybe will come out whenever it
He'll
does.
put
come
another
out.
record out, I
Yeah.
hope.
Yes.
Well, it's like just a hypothetical. Like, let's say it has 10 songs on it. You could be a writer that has 8 songs on it and still not get the single somehow. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So it's just, I don't know, dude. In ways, it's a crapshoot, but at the end of the day, it's a business. And dude, if you want to hit a home run, you need as many at bats as possible. And
No doubt.
That's totally true.
And you also probably need a guitar to write them on.
yeah,
So
I smashed mine.
Yeah.
That's what he's getting at, y'all. I smashed mine in Canada last year, and
Last
I've never
year?
got a new one.
Well, I guess it's only what, February now? March, I guess? March.
Now that you
Yeah.
say that, actually, I think it was technically 2022. At
Dang,
the end of
dude.
it, yeah, I was at Boots and Hearts in Canada, and I smashed it. You know, like
You don't have like any guitar?
no, listen. so you know how it's like some people when they want to smash a guitar on the road for the show of it, they'll just like bring an extra crappy guitar with them.
Yeah.
Nah, dude, I smashed like my guitar, and then like
Is this an acoustic guitar?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and
Was
after
it worth it?
yeah, like maybe I don't know if I don't feel bad about it, but I don't feel great about it. You know what I mean? But afterwards, I was like, damn, you know. And then every time that I've needed a guitar since then, I forget about it until like the day of or the day before, and I'm like, well, it's too late to buy one, so I just borrow one off my really guitar gifted friends, and that's how it's been going. Dude. You were asking me earlier, you were like, what about just like jamming around your house? Like, dude, I'm not jamming around my house, bro. I'm playing PlayStation. Like,
Yeah,
get
that's
real.
true.
Hell
Or
yeah.
making TikToks in my backyard like a real boy.
Like a real American does.
Talking about wanting to bang female versions of male guys.
Bro,
Yeah.
I love that, by the way.
Listen,
Fucking funny, man.
Yeah.
I didn't think that this would ever be a thing. There were some people that were pissed off in the comments on my TikTok about
Good.
it.
Let them fucking comment on it and feed that algorithm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's. I mean,
What's your
that's
TikTok? How do people find you? You guys gotta drop that real quick.
at Rotundo on TikTok. Like, you know, the big round room or Rotunda. It's like that, but with an O at the end instead of an A. I got this dumb Italian last name, but it is what it is.
Hey.
But yeah, there were some people on there that were like, imagine being a girl watching this that looks like that. Like, imagine how they feel. Like, listen, Karen, it's an AI generated face. Like, also, everyone has a different like standard. It's a joke.
I have
Like,
noticed,
how did we get here?
I have noticed some of them. I'm like, not bad. And you're like 15 drinks. I'm like, what?
Standards are high. He has a girlfriend, that's why.
No,
I know, I'm like, dude, Dylan Schneider looking good.
yeah, 100%. Well, dude, also
I don't even remember if he. Some of them look haggard.
sometimes though, like, you know, it just goes to show you everyone's got a different taste. You know,
Yeah.
hey, you might love their eyes and their hair, but that jawline really throws me off. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, well, you need to now. The next thing is to appease all the, people that are hating on you on TikTok. Is you need to do the opposite and get like a male version of Carrie Underwood and talk about banging that guy or whatever.
And have a girl on.
or
maybe,
yeah, that's what I meant. Yeah, and have a girl on.
Yeah, no, I will 100% do that to level the playing field. That's actually a fantastic idea. And also,
I need a third of that.
yeah, you got it.
But hey, write that down. I need a third. Of
Yeah,
that.
it's not going to sustain you living wise. Sorry, Kurt.
That's like an album cut.
Yeah.
But one of those chicks that commented on my stuff was like, these boys need to look in the mirror. Who are they to judge? And like, completely
it's
understandable.
totally fair.
But Michael Ray is like a pretty good looking
Yeah,
dude.
yeah,
Like,
no
what are y'all
shit,
talking
dude.
about, dude? Like, I think he does okay. Like,
Yeah,
what do you mean?
I think
Yeah.
so.
Like,
Yeah. I assume he's done good throughout his life as well as currently. You know?
yeah. Also, I'm completely realistic about what I am. Like, dude, on my best day, 20 pounds ago, I'm a 7, right? And like, I'm pretty sure if I looked at myself in the mirror, I'd be like, yeah, not still a 6. Like,
Yeah,
what do you
I
mean? Like,
haven't been a 7 since the 90s, dude.
yeah. Oh, bro. I also love being a very average person and like judging people's looks. It's inherently funny. You know what I mean?
Dude,
So,
I'm more sensitive to things being offensive, I think, than some people are.
Me, for example, yes.
Yeah. And not that I get offended, but I'm worried about offending people more so, if that makes sense. And watching that stuff doesn't really like trigger my alarms, I guess.
never
me or
thought it
whatever.
would. Like, never thought that anyone would get to that. But I'm like, God. But it goes to show you, like, bro, these days, anybody will suck the fun out of anything that they possibly can.
Yes.
Like, guys, it's a joke. It's not even a real phase. Come on. Like,
It's funny too. Like we were talking with like some other artist buddies. I'm like, you need to build comedic license, then you can kind of say whatever you want. You know?
totally. Yeah. I think it's like Theo Von gets away with saying
Yeah.
a lot of crazy shit.
Yeah.
And
Right.
no one cares.
Yeah.
Which, as they shouldn't. Yeah.
Right.
But I mean, dude, that's the same reason like Chappelle got out of comedy for like 10 years. I mean, amongst other reasons, but he was like, the world was going in a way where I didn't think you guys would get my jokes, you know?
Yep.
And I can understand that, you know?
I love comedians and songwriters both because they say things that I want to say but can't sometimes.
Totally.
Different ways, but yes,
Yes.
I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like May Estes has that song like thinking about cheating.
Yeah.
I'm like, fuck, that's a great song.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna tell someone like I feel that way or I have felt that way.
You just
before.
did right now.
Fuck.
Yeah.
But it's a song about not cheating. But it's
Yeah.
just like when the fucking relationship's going bad, it's like, get me out of here, kind of a thing. And she wrote this beautiful song about it.
It's also funny how certain artists can say certain things and others can't or don't sound the same saying it. Like, for example, what's that Justin Moore song where he's like, I could kick your ass. Like, great song. Dude, you sound great singing it. I would sound like a moron saying that. You know what I mean? Like, to each their own. But, man, yeah, I mean, I guess that's the beauty of creativity.
I think it really is, too. And, I mean, that's part of the thing that you build as an artist, right? Is, like, what is you, you know? Is there, like, intention when you do that? Like, what am I going to give to the world? Because, like, that's one of the things I, like, kind of notice in town is, like, people are them, but like, what are you willing to give of that to the masses?
Yeah, I got asked an interesting question recently, and I don't know why it struck me as interesting at the time, but we were just talking about being an artist, and the question was, okay, if you're an artist, what do you want to say, right? Mm-hmm. That was interesting to me because I don't feel like I'm really trying to say anything, right? Like, I'm just trying to write the best songs that I possibly can. You know, I think people think that the casual fan is just dumb or something, and they're not. You know, like I was concerned because of the way that people talk sometimes that people wouldn't get a song like Break Even. I was like, because you know, some songs you hear, you'll be like, man, this is such a great song. It's really smart. I don't know if people will be able to actually wrap their head around it, right? But with a song like Break Even, they completely got it, you know? And I was happy to see that. But it's interesting to me that people, I think people have like watered down products so much because they think, you know, coming out of like the bro country era, they're like, oh, just say some stuff that sounds good. R.I.P., by the way, great era.
Miss you.
But people are sometimes like, oh, you can just say whatever you want. Like, I get, like, yes, you can, but also they're smarter than you think they are, right? And they see your authenticity. And so I guess as an artist, I just found that to be an interesting question. I'm not really trying to say anything. I think some artists are, right? You go back in time, look at like Rage Against the Machine. They were trying to say something. Yes. You know what I mean?
They're trying to say a lot of stuff.
And it was cool when they did it. Like, it gave them a purpose. It gave them, you know, a reason to wake up every day and make that music. But I think that I think most people are just trying to write the best songs they can off the best ideas possible and, you know, hopefully make stuff people like.
Right. And I know that I have nothing to say. I just know that. I mean, I have a fucking podcast, so hopefully I can find something to say. But it's like, I grew up in middle class and everything is great, and then I got a great job and everything's cool. You know, it's not like I have like this incredible story that I can draw from, you know, or like I went through like drug addiction. Thank God I haven't, but you know, or you
There's
know,
still time.
like that. There is still time. But
I know a guy.
So I'm like, how am I going to write a song that? But people do it all the time, you know.
Yeah, but also
make believe.
To your point, you're like, man, nothing ever interesting has happened to me. I think that's the interesting part, like, because guys like you, who have had, for lack of better words, standard life. You know, there's a lot of relatability there, though. Absolutely. There's a million people like that. Yeah. You know what I mean? So I've always said that I come from a town that's like half people farm and the other half people just kind of live in the suburbs, right? Mm-hmm. But it's rural nonetheless. But
is that Virginia?
Ohio.
Ohio, baby.
But where I'm from, it was almost... certain parts of it were almost so country that it was cool to be anything besides country.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So we grew up, you know, if you grew up on a farm, I didn't really want to like listen to country because I lived it every day. Yeah. So we were listening to rap and rock and emo rock and all this stuff. Mm-hmm. And then it wasn't until I got stationed down in Georgia and I heard some country in like 2012. And I was like, oh, okay, now I can relate to this, right? But at the same time, I remember when My Kind of Party came out. I was in high school when it came out, and I had never
perfect time for that song to come out.
Yeah, for sure.
In a young man's life.
Well, I had never really been the listens to country music guy.
Yeah,
a lot of my friends were, so I figured, you know how it is back then too. I always figured that I was like, damn, I love this song, but I don't want to listen to it in front of my friends because they're gonna clown me, right? You know what I mean? Because it's never been my thing.
Pittsburgh too.
So I always say that I guess if I did have something to say as an artist, I've always wanted to I want the person that's grew up on a farm to understand what I'm saying, but I also want the kid that's living in the suburbs to not feel weird listening to it.
Yeah.
Right? I kind of want it to feel like that. You know, I want it to be I don't know if inclusive is the right word. I just want to be relatable enough for everyone because I'm a normal dude. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like everybody wants to think of artists as like these shadowy figures and
masterminds or something.
yeah, and I think that kind of died with the age of the internet, right?
Yeah,
You know, there's
social
no
media.
mysteriousness left in that stuff. So it's like for me, like, dude, there's no difference between me and you. I know I'm good at writing songs, I guess, and you're good at something else. Trust me, in a lot of ways, I wish I was good at what you were good at because I've been through the ringer in this business. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, I think if I have anything to say, that would be it.
I think that's part of it too, man. One of the things for me is the more personal a song is to someone, almost the more it's relatable to you. Even though that's not your story, you can find moments in that story that you relate to.
Yeah.
So, and I think that's one of the things when I think about what makes country music is it is storytelling music.
Yeah.
Right? Like the genre has expanded greatly since the first times we've listened to it. And funny enough, like 2012 is around when I seriously got into country music too. Like my dad had always listened to country, but like that's when I like really dug in. So it's like one of those things where whatever your version of that thing is, I think is what you should put out there, right? Like it's if it means something to you, it's going to mean something to someone else.
Yeah, totally. And you know, if crafted right.
Correct.
But that's why I've never understood why. I mean, still to this day, I really thought we would get past it. I kind of at least understood where it was coming from in the bro country era, but you see all these people like, man, this ain't country. That is country. This ain't like, shut up.
I hate
dude.
that. Country music gatekeepers is like my biggest pet peeve ever. And it wasn't just FGL or Sam Hunt or Dan and Shay, but it was like outlaw country. It was like, this doesn't have steel guitar on it and it's not slow, or, you know, there's always been those people and there always will be.
Also,
so just
like,
don't fucking worry about it and just do your shit.
But back to the point of artists.
Shut the fuck up.
I know, right? but also that all ties together. Like we were talking about, artists are just regular people. You know, like I've never spent a bunch of time with Luke, but I'm sure he's a normal guy. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So my point being is, whether it's Tyler Hubbard back in the FGL days, or if it's Waylon Jennings and 19 God knows what, like they're just regular people. They're like, oh man, this is outlaw country. Like what do you think they like ride on their Harley and they're 1%ers and they go around like shooting people? Like, what do you think? No, they're just regular dudes. I guess, you know, it's just a name for a genre, but like good music is just good music. Shut the fuck up. You suck. And just enjoy it, bro.
Yes.
I got a Mac Miller tattoo on my hand and I love country. Like, it doesn't matter. Also, why are we the only genre where that's a thing?
Yeah.
Like, you don't hear like a big pop guy be like, that's not pop. What the hell? Like, no, dude. Like,
Yeah, what is the deal
Everything
with
is pop. Yeah, that is super true.
also, Machine Gun Kelly raps and then wanted to make some punk rock because he likes punk rock. Sells arenas.
Yep.
You know, it's like, and everybody's like, hell yeah, dude, good for you, man. I mean, there's some haters, don't get me wrong.
that?
But
Guitar he put out was so ugly.
in general, though, people are like, oh, dude, good for him. Like, I know he's always liked punk rock, so I'm glad he gets to do it. Why can't we be that? like, dude, don't get me wrong. I love country, but what if I want to put out a rock song tomorrow? I can't. You know, it's a little weird. Or if I wanted to rap tomorrow, even if it was the best shit you've ever heard, people couldn't get over the this is a little weird part, you know? So shit that grinds my gears.
Dude, same.
Episode 102.
Bobby Bones has a rant on it too, and him and I feel the same way. And I'm just like, preach it, bro.
Yeah, the genre specifically right now is wider than it's ever been.
Yeah.
Without a
you
doubt.
know? And think about like the guys that are the top of the genre. Like Wallen's doing rap songs right now.
Yeah. Oh,
And-
he's got a southern accent, though.
Yeah.
And the shit's good,
Yeah.
bro.
His
Like,
shit is great.
so
Yeah.
good.
So good.
And I mean, that's the stuff I just can't get past. People are like, man, that's not country. Like, okay, is it good? Like, who cares what you think it
Yeah.
is? Like the Beyonce shit, bro.
God.
Like,
You were going crazy over that.
Yeah.
well, is the song My Cup of Tea?
No. Yeah.
Okay.
I think it's a bop, just for the record.
It's definitely a bop. Like, I think sometimes I'm a little poisoned as a songwriter because I'm like, I don't know if I'd say that. But once again, it's the art of expression. Say whatever you want. Like, is it my cup of tea? No. Do I respect it? Yes. Because at the end of the day, people are like, man, why is Beyonce getting played on country radio? Because she fucking asked to be. Because she's one of the biggest artists in the world for the last 20 years. And when you are that, you get to do shit like that.
Yeah.
If you're Morgan Wallen today and you want played on pop radio, I promise you could.
Yeah, it's played on pop radio.
Yes.
It already is. Yeah.
Same
So-
thing with Luke and Fast Car. Like, he didn't get any flack for crossing over with Fast Car. You know,
Yeah.
it just depends on the genre too.
Well, also, why are we so nearsighted, right? Like, oh man, this Beyonce stuff, I hate it. Well, country music is bigger than it's ever been, and if the fact that Beyonce is on country radio doesn't tell you that without me telling you, I don't know what will. So if you're in country music and you hate it, that's fine. You don't got to do it. Nobody's asking you to collab with her. But at the end of the day, it's very obvious that the genre is bigger than it's ever been, and it's just going to get bigger, which means two things. One, your audience is going to be bigger, and two, you're going to make more money.
More money.
So shut up.
Yeah.
Rising tide raises all ships.
Yep.
Yeah, dude. Also, like, how sick would it be to be sitting at the CMAs next year and Beyonce's like, hey, what's up?
Yeah.
Like, I'm in.
You're
It's
like,
gonna
I don't hate
happen.
that.
Yeah.
She'll be there. For
I'll
sure,
immediately
or
push her
ACMs
aside and
or
shake
something.
Jay-Z's hand.
Yeah. Well, man, and that's like one of the things too. It's funny, like we were like, should we wear FGL baseball jerseys today? And we didn't. We wore these all black sweatshirts like everybody does, you know, now.
Man.
Hey, we all match. It
We
looks
should have.
great.
I regret it.
Yeah. But that's one of the things, like, they got so much flack, right?
Yeah.
But realistically, if you think about that now, their genre bending wasn't even nearly as crazy as stuff is now. It just started like that thing there. you
Everything's
know?
cyclical.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
They walked so that Rotundo could run.
yeah. Yeah. And the thing is, I mean, dude, look at it like when Garth Brooks came out.
Yeah.
You know, like the biggest country artist of all time, you know, he got to that point, right?
Yeah.
But still at that time, people were like, this ain't country, you know, like
yeah.
this isn't Waylon Jennings. But then became very accepted as country.
Yep.
And then Luke Bryan and Jason Aldean come out, and they're like, this isn't country, sell stadiums,
Yep.
right? And
Yep.
then Sam Hunt comes out. The first time, here's my point I always make with this. I think Sam Hunt's a great example. The first time that you were ever driving down the road and you heard, I don't know if you're looking at me or not, you probably smile like that all the time. You looked down to see what radio station you were on,
Yeah.
right? But the point is that you stopped what you were doing to make sure you were on the right station. So obviously, right off the rip, you're doing something right as an artist, okay? And now, guess what? Sells arenas.
Yeah.
So it's like, you know, I mean, dude, look at Bailey.
Yeah.
Look at Bailey. There's so many people like, oh man, this TikTok shit's not sustainable. I was one of them. In full transparency, sells
Tickets.
7,000, 8, whatever.
Yeah.
His booking fee's crazy. Good for him. So it's like, but you know, every time, you know, you used to, I don't know, dude, 20 years ago, you might have one stadium act in country if you're lucky,
Yeah.
right?
Oh yeah.
Well, now there's, yeah.
Morgan, Luke, Zach,
Yeah. I mean,
Kenny.
still Kenny.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
you could have 5 shows in a stadium that sold very, very well
Blake?
in a certain area. Yeah.
And so nothing tells you
Garth?
country's
Did I
bigger
not
than it's
say
ever
Garth?
been.
Yeah.
Country's bigger than it's ever been. So it's like,
Definitely.
I just can't imagine just sitting around all day and be like, man, I want to write a good song, but I hate Beyonce. Like, dude, get
I don't
over
have
yourself.
time for the hate. I'm like, get out of here. Just go.
Yeah.
And it's just lazy because there's so much good music out right now.
Yeah.
You know, it's like if you want to listen to something traditional, then go listen to Zach Top, which I do anyway.
Yeah,
but-
and he's kick ass, by
Yeah.
the way.
Yeah.
Like I kind of, I guess by traditional standards, I kind of barely fit into country sonically. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And I love that shit. I hope that's what I'm saying. I hope the kid that wants to listen to Zach Top can listen to my stuff, and I hope the kid that, you know, loves Luke Combs also likes, I don't know, dude, Linkin Park or
Yeah.
something.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
dude, good music's just
Right.
good music, man.
I was but the speak on your like sort of like farm suburbia thing is like the production on your stuff is very, I would say, like a newer sound, you know, like a less traditional production, but it's like you still have like banjo and steel guitar and stuff like that in there. So it kind of what you're talking about is what you're doing also musically.
Yeah, it's almost like what's the best way to describe it? I have things that I would consider like a staple in my production, things that make it cool to me, right?
Yeah.
At the end of the day, not in a narcissistic way, I just want to make music that I enjoy listening to, right?
You have to.
Yeah.
And I always say like atmospherical and spacey production is something that I love. You know, kind of where all the shit's going on in the background, and it's something I took actually from like Kid Cudi.
Oh, yeah.
Dude, he really spacey and atmospherical tracks. You know, so I've always loved that, and but also I'm just a sucker for songwriting. I just can't. That's just something I can't skimp out on. But at the end of the day, people need to realize, like, hey, there's a day for, there's a time and a place for the Austins by Blake Shelton that are just extraordinarily well written.
Yeah.
And there's also a time and place for freaking Cruise, dude. Like, it's all good. It's all good.
Those are both on the same level for me, but yeah. She broke my car heart.
Oh yeah.
She broke my freaking car heart, brother.
And it's just like a zipper that's torn off. That's the album cover. I see it right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Done.
But yeah, dude, I feel like, in regards to just what I want personally, I feel like I've kind of been hitting the nail on the head.
Yeah.
But it is interesting to see what resonates with people and what doesn't, right? It's always like your favorite songs that don't, and it's always your least favorite songs that do. That hasn't totally been the case, but like, dude, for example, I wrote one the other day it's called Ice Water. It's like, my mom used to always tell me, I'd be like, hey, Mom, I want McDonald's. And she'd be like, well, people in hell want ice water, Michael. You know? I just assumed that everyone's mom said that to them.
Yeah.
And maybe like 4 out of 10 people have. So I was like, oh, man, I'm going to like tease this song and everyone's going to get it. Probably like no one did. And it just made me look like it. But it just goes to show, you know, it's like, I don't know, music's subjective and I don't know, dude. You do have to put out what you love at the end of the day because, let's just say, best case scenario, you end up the biggest artist in the world or something. You want to tour playing songs you love.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Also,
play
people
that.
don't know what they want, really.
No.
They don't. Like, I used to think, like, I wanted the smallest cell phone in the world.
Yeah.
And now I have this huge, like, iPhone.
I
You know,
used
it's
to
like-
have the smallest cell phone in the world. I had like one of those Jukes. It was like this big.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was
was
like
awful.
Zoolander phone.
Yeah.
Well, I also think this is like the first time in music where the industry hasn't told you what you want, right? You know, MTV, VH1, all those things where you just liked what they played. Therefore, they told you what to like because they were only playing what they wanted,
150
right?
songs or whatever.
Yeah, and you know, if you didn't know My Own Worst Enemy by Lit, you were a complete sucker, right? Because it was on MTV every day. Now it's kind of like, don't get me wrong, country radio is still king, and I like it that way.
Playlisting too.
Yeah, playlisting as well. But I think for the first, or at least more than ever, the freedom of choice is there more with music. You know what I'm saying? So in a way, I feel like it's more important than ever to be the best you can be at what you're doing as an artist because there's 10 of them lined up right next to you that they can go listen to.
I love that too about like the streaming platforms. So like, I mean, for example, we have our new country playlist, right? I don't expect every person that listens to that playlist to be like, man, every one of these songs is my exact favorite song, right? But I think it gives you, in my head, like what you can find that is your favorite song, right? And then from there, okay, so I like Rotundo. Well, who else is in that same vibe, right?
Yeah.
Or like who's associated acts, you know?
Yeah.
Spotify did that to me today.
Yeah.
It was like, check out Graham Barham. I was like, I love this song. I'm like, oh, it's Graham. Cool.
Yeah.
I think that's super cool too because like a radio you used to be able to listen to a rock station would feed you all rock. Well, now you can get deep into that subgenre.
Yeah,
You know
without
what I mean?
a doubt. Dude, and country has so many subgenres
Yes,
now, right?
absolutely.
Which is cool as shit to me.
Yeah.
I'm just curious to see. I'm always curious to see like what touches radio and what doesn't, you
Oh,
know?
yeah.
And you never really know until a couple of years from now. But
Yeah.
I mean, dude, 5 years ago, if you like listen to Morgan's album, like let's say you could go back in time and in 2015, you could go listen to Dangerous, the double album. You'd be like, radio's never gonna play this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
Until they do.
Obviously they do. Yeah.
Yeah.
Brock Berryhill gave me the best advice the other day. He was like, we were just talking about the state of affairs, if you will. And Brock was like, man, Morgan's the standard right now, right? I was like, yeah. He's like, if you're an artist and you're not putting out songs as good or better than what Morgan is right now, you might as well not. And I was like, damn, that's true too, dude.
Good luck doing that.
Yeah,
I know,
it's
I
crazy.
agree with that as well, but
Yeah.
it's a good point. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
The hard part about that is that every single songwriter on the planet is pitching songs to Morgan Wallen and team.
Totally.
Right?
But that's one of the benefits of getting to where he is.
Yeah.
Right? You're kind of, the biggest lion gets to eat first or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if that's actually a saying. But
And he's still writing. It's not like he's just cutting songs.
No,
too.
yeah, absolutely.
I also argue that because you have artists and then you have songwriters, like staff writers that just write every day.
Mm-hmm.
And dude, I argue that those guys are the most talented ones in town because there's folks I write with that every time I write with them, they know exactly what I want. Like they walk in knowing what a Rotundo song sounds like and should sound like, etc. And then at 3 p.m. they'll go do it with somebody that's the exact opposite of me.
Yep.
Like, how are you not only such a good writer but able to chameleon your style in a meaningful way? You know what I mean? Because I write country all day long and I love that. And dude, don't get me wrong, like I can write a rock song, but I probably can't write a rock song as good as the people that write rock songs all day every day. But some of these people can, and that shit's crazy to me.
Yeah, and rock songs are different. The genre is different.
Yeah.
I mean, like, think about all of the artists that are rock artists like Ozzy. If you did things in country music where you were talking about like demons and goblins and shit, people would go fucking crazy.
Yeah.
Like, but in rock music, wearing a costume and writing songs about nonsense is totally fine.
What is Tool talking about ever? I have no idea.
Yeah, but I love all of their music.
Yeah, that's incredible.
I don't even know how to pronounce my favorite song by then.
Yeah.
Hooker with a penis. It's Schism.
Yeah.
Do you guys think in a way that the injection of rock into country has also slightly revitalized the genre of rock?
Yeah, 100%.
I think it definitely has.
Yeah.
We've been talking about it for a while. There's been a swell in Texas for a while,
Yeah.
that rock thing, right? But now it's coming all over. So it's going from not just where it's in that Texas scene now, all of music is going a little bit more rock leaning.
Yeah.
Which is great for me, being a guy that has loved rock and roll music his whole life and loves country music. Like the stuff that's crossing over, like seeing our buddy Austin Snell have success
I
with
love
his stuff that's
dude.
crossover. Yeah, and seeing a producer like Bayless come to town and
Also
start
love
kicking
that
ass
guy.
right away. Like getting to see those genres merging for me as a fan of music, not just a fan of country music. It's a very big blessing.
Well, there's also something to be said after being in town and watching those things that you just described. I think that Bayless is a really good example of the benefit in sticking to your guns a little bit, right? Bayless, I remember probably, I don't know, dude, must have been like 4 years ago or more when I first met Bayless, and he was just like the rock guy that was working with Jelly Roll, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like that's how people knew him, and anytime anyone had a rock project or something they want to do, everybody's like, oh, dude, go see Bayless. Like, he's the best at rock. But also, he's been doing country all the time, too. And now, just in general, he's somebody that everyone wants to work with for country.
Yeah.
Like, he's kind of like parlayed that over. But also, as the genre has moved more rock-infused, all of these artists now want Bayless to produce their shit.
Yeah.
Which is cool as hell to see. I mean, but the funny thing about that is, like, he's always been that good. You just never went to him because you thought he was going to be too rock or something.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I feel like you see that all the time too. You know what I mean? But good for him, dude. He crushes. I love that guy.
Yeah, and this town's very much about like, oh, that's working now. Let's go towards it, right? And I feel like it has been. I don't know. I haven't been here as long as like.
Well, I mean, when I first moved to town in 2012, it was like, and I started writing a lot. It's like, let's write like a Sam Hunt song,
Mm-hmm.
But then it was like, by the time you were writing what's on the radio now, it's too late.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I didn't know that at the time because I'm not a songwriter.
Well, also there's just certain people that you can try to emulate, but you can't. There's certain people you can, but I mean, how many people have tried to do the Sam Hunt thing? 100, and it just sounds weird and inauthentic. You know what I'm saying? So it's like not what works for one is it's not always a one size fits all. You know what I mean?
I absolutely agree with that. And that's the thing too. It's cool watching stuff lean ways, but like, dude, when Austin Snell moved to town, he loved rock music.
Yeah.
But I don't even think, I guarantee he would tell you he did not know he would be doing rock music as his primary thing.
Totally. I think it's also interesting that you see, let's say take Austin 2 years ago. I don't know exactly what his timeline was, but let's say you take Austin 2 years ago, like right before he put out Wasting All Those Tears, he did that cut of that song or whatever.
The cover, yeah.
You know, he's obviously got the song recorded. He's obviously been making music like that. And then he starts to tease it on TikTok, right? And then it goes viral. It's funny to me because you see these people that are like, oh, like I love this song. I like this Austin Snell guy. Like, so did it take a viral video though for you to realize that it was good?
Yeah.
Right? Like, was he not just as good the day before the video went viral as he is today?
Yeah.
So let's stop. That's another thing that kills me. I feel like a lot of music gets lost, you know, and I think it's been like that since the beginning of time, and I get that, you know, but I do think that whilst I appreciate TikTok and the platform, and it's free and it's awesome, and I figured out how to use it in a meaningful way. Whilst all those things are true, I do think that the industry is ready for some sort of a competitor to that or something. You know, it kind of feels like the oversaturation is interesting.
You will definitely see that, right? I don't know exactly what it will be, but there's always something coming.
Dude, do you guys remember when TikTok was like a day away from getting shut down?
Oh, yeah.
Like,
people were going crazy.
It feels like it is now.
Yeah.
You know?
yeah.
Yeah.
At least from a music perspective, I guess, with UMG pulling their stuff.
and they
I know, that is
literally
crazy.
everything.
I see some of those artists, and I keep thinking like, dang, what are they going to do about that?
Yeah.
Well, Colby Acuff is with Sony, so he's cool. But the single and his best streamed song on his most recent record was written with Lucas Nelson, who's at UMG.
So they pulled it.
So he can't be on TikTok anymore.
It's so crazy.
But what do you do about that, right? I think that's like a wake-up call to every publisher, label, etc. Because, like, let's just say TikTok went away tomorrow, because it can.
Yeah.
What do you do? Like, what's the formula then, right?
Yep.
Because now it's like, go viral on TikTok and stream like crazy, and then when you're getting 1 million streams a day, we'll sign you and take you to radio. So
Yeah,
what's the
let's
formula
tour.
after that, right?
Well, what I did in high school was print out flyers for my band and pass them out to people.
Yeah.
So
that went great.
Oh yeah, but our
We need another COVID.
oh god,
No, not
Please,
another
no.
COVID. I just saw a thing where they were like, yeah, COVID is to be treated like the flu. I'm like, yep, we figured that. Yeah.
Yeah,
yes,
kind of always did.
Yep.
No offense.
No offense. Yeah, I mean, I got sick recently. I'm like, am I gonna have to? What's going on here? I took a test. I didn't have it, but because I was hanging out with my parents, but I do not miss those days.
No, dude, I must have like tiger blood or something. I never got it.
Seriously, never got it once.
Yeah.
I didn't get it
Probably do,
until
bro. That's a good Ohio in you.
true. I got it. We did this Apple Music event. If you have Apple Music, you can go and watch us play a live show where I get COVID at Coyote Joe's. The next day the day after, we had a stadium show with Kojo in Atlanta, and I got off stage. I'm like, am I still hungover? Like, why do I feel this way? I'm exhausted.
Yeah.
Then I get home Sunday morning and my brain wouldn't work. I'm like, I definitely have COVID.
Yeah.
And I had to just go to sleep for a few days.
Yeah.
Then I fixed it.
First time I had it was back in Pittsburgh still. It was like, that first batch. And my buddy, we would go work out at the gym at his house when we weren't allowed to like go anywhere.
Yeah.
And then, he was still on Tinder, like, doing the Lord's work out there. So he got COVID and then distributed it to the rest of us from like, working out. But I had it pretty bad. I had like 2 weeks of the flu, basically.
Yeah. Dude, I think it's such a funny conversation to me these days because it's become like such a partisan thing. Well, it always was, right? And I'm not the politics guy, not me.
I don't think anyone in this room is a politics guy.
But it's every time I have spoke about COVID, you have two people. You got the one person that's like, well, my grandma died. Like, who are you to say that? And then you have the other person that's like, it doesn't exist or whatever. But it's like, I'm not saying either of y'all are wrong. I'm just saying it didn't really affect my daily life as much as maybe some people.
Tiger blood.
Yeah. Like also, like, I'm sorry that, this happened to so-and-so or didn't happen to so-and-so. Like, I still have to go to the grocery. Like, I don't know what to say. Dude, nothing was worse than the way that people looked at you when you sneezed in public.
Oh, yeah.
In like 2021.
Oh, yeah.
And, oh man, but I will say in this town, whilst it sucked for the entertainment industry in general,
Yeah.
the one good thing about it was everyone was off the road.
Yeah.
So all the people that you never got to hang out with because everyone's on the road, we just had house parties every day.
Literally party time.
And traffic was gone.
Yeah. You could just go anywhere so fast. It was amazing.
And if you did want to fly somewhere, it was like $10.
Yeah. $10 and no one in the
You
middle
could fly
seat.
to Wuhan.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, dude, I remember like the cops would show up to houses. They were like, "You have more than 6 people here."
No, okay, I have never witnessed that.
Hold on a second, buddy.
Story time.
Twice.
Oh man.
Twice. Dude,
Y'all
Party
were having
police.
a really good time.
yeah. First time was in Chief's condo in L.A.
Oh yeah.
We were there having I don't know. I guess we were like having a little shindig or something. Well, Chief's,
Having a rager for sure. But
Chief's neighbor Rob, who is awesome, by the way, shout out Rob, lived in the house that is like directly below Chief's condo. So he would just look up and see if like the windows were open and there was music coming, and he would just come up and hang out. And then a bunch of other people would come and hang out. And this one time, we just got a knock on the door. We were like, "That's weird," because you have to. It's like there's like a concierge downstairs. Shout out Chief, can't hide money.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
the Nickelback movie.
Yeah. And so all of a sudden there's a knock on the door. We're like, "That's weird." So Chief opens it up. Dude, it's the COVID police. Like, I shit you not. It's the COVID police. It was like, "How many people do you guys have in there?" Chief was like, "I don't know, dude. Get out of here." You know what I mean? But like Chief
Quit
had
treading
to
on me.
Chief had to talk to him for a minute. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And then the second time was we would always hang out at Colby's house during COVID, Colby Calais.
Yeah, she was telling me about this.
She told you this story?
You tell it.
Okay, so this one time we had a little gathering at her house, and the neighbors like called the cops because they just noticed a lot of cars in the driveway. By the way, first of all, I'm having the best night of my life already, right? Like, dude, I'm hanging out with Colby Calais and Gavin DeGraw's playing coffee shop music on the grand piano in the kitchen. Like, it is just a great night, okay? And then you get a knock on the door, and it's the COVID police or just the regular police. I don't know, whatever, however that works. But our buddy, whom I won't name, is a special agent for Homeland Security, so he's got one of those really cool badges. So he's like, "I'll take care of this," and went to the front door. Everyone else like ran upstairs and just in case they wanted to come inside or something.
Yeah.
And our buddy just went out there and like flashed his badge and talked to him and shit. And yeah, it ended up being okay. But I like Colby's the sweetest person in the world,
Literally.
and she is, you know, not in with the politics and all that stuff. She's just living her best life. And she was like, seriously, you know, like I'm here on my own will, you know what I'm saying? Or everyone else is. So like, if we get it, we get it. If we don't, we don't.
Right.
Whatever, dude.
Yeah. It's super weird. I mean, it's like even the bars, it's like you can be here, just wear a mask until you get to the table, you
Yeah.
know, and only be there at the table with people that you live with. you
I
know?
hated dealing with this so much. I'm just like,
know.
fuck. I just, ugh.
I'm excited to be past it though.
Yes.
That makes one of us boys. I was having the time of my life.
Well,
No, I'm just
I
kidding.
I mean, there was some fun times.
Yeah.
Like when I was sitting on my ass playing video games.
Yeah.
dude.
That was fun.
Like making no money sucked. Like
yeah.
that was
Wasn't the
pretty
best.
ass.
Yeah.
But also, you guys can't tell me though, the one good thing that came from COVID is if there was another COVID tomorrow, we all know exactly what we'd do.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
you know, there's things I look back at now. I'm like, damn, I wish I would have done that during COVID. Like, you
Like
know,
work out.
yeah, like work out, dude. Like I always see those van life people, and I'm like, you guys suck. Do you think you're better than us? And now I'm like, no, I'd probably do that. That'd
Yeah.
be cool. Yeah,
we kind of had a little mini, not COVID thing, but when Nashville got iced over,
Yeah.
Yeah.
it was like the same thing.
It's like, stay inside for a week.
But Colby Acuff, my neighbor, and his girlfriend Whitney were doing dry January. I'm like, you guys want to? Oh, okay. Because like COVID was not the driest time. It was like
No.
a lot of box wine and playing video games,
Yeah.
watching TV.
I literally
Tiger
had
King.
Zoom parties where we played Flip Cup on Zoom.
That's
with
hilarious.
each person had their own cup.
The bar owners would just sell us bottles.
Yeah.
Like, you know, they're like, hey, we have to close at 11, but if you guys want to take this box of Tito's home with you,
Here
it's.
you go.
We were like, we
Thank
don't care
you.
how much it is. Perfect. Thanks so
Sounds
much.
great.
Money is made up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, you know, I don't have any right now. So what are you
Yeah.
trying to say?
Yeah.
Here's that check I got from the government. You're welcome.
Speaking of COVID, what was it like playing with Tracy Chapman, buddy? Because that looked pretty sick.
Bro, it was the coolest thing I've ever done in my entire life.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And but she was worried about getting sick and stuff like that.
Oh,
And-
really?
Yeah. And so it was kind of like we didn't know if it was going to happen and all these different things. And Luke's manager Cappy called me and was like,
I hear great things about him, by the way. Never met, but
oh, he's great. Not to sidetrack too much, but he just paid for us all to go on a cruise to Joost Van Dyke in some island. I don't even know where it was.
I immediately want to know him better.
He's incredible. Yeah. Well, you should listen to our podcast that we did with him because it's great.
Yeah.
He's a sweetie pie. Anyway, but Cappy called me and was like, hey, Luke's playing the Grammys this year. I'm like, hell yeah. And he's like, but he's using Tracy's band and it's going to be with Tracy. I was like, oh, dang.
Hell no.
Yeah. And then he's like, but they don't have a steel guitar player. And I'm like, hell yeah. And so I had to like send them like videos of me playing and like a resume. And
yeah,
they're like, I'm like, hey, I played on this record and this is a video of me playing your song in front of 60,000 people and all this stuff. And they're like, all right, you're good to go. We did a couple days of rehearsals and like so low key, no click track, nothing, just people in a room. And it was like Tracy, Danny, the drummer that played on the record, Larry, the bass player that played on the record, and they toured with her. Larry, the fiddle player, also that toured with her back in the day, and with like Bob Dylan, all these cool players, and Joe on guitar. And we got on there and just jammed, and just had a great time. And we talked about, what everyone's first car was, and Tracy's like, so Kurt, tell me about, what else you're doing in town, and like she's just like such a sweetheart, like the nicest person ever, and we're like waiting to start playing, and she's like, let's run one. And we played it, and she sounds amazing.
Yeah.
Like she's so good. And then Luke came in, and afterwards, because she wanted to like get sounds first with the band and then bring Luke in. And Luke was so excited, but he was like kind of nervous. Mm-hmm. He's like, he just kept talking and talking and talking, like nervously, which is really adorable. I mean, he's funny too, but he's like, I'm sorry, I can't stop talking. I'm just really nervous right now.
Yeah. Understandable.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then they started singing together, and it was just immediately right.
When you were rehearsing, did you only, obviously you did, but did you only rehearse Fast Car? Okay. Or did you mess around with a little, give me one reason to stay here? Yeah, come on.
So great question, because we had 2 days to rehearse one song,
Right, yeah, how good can it get? Right?
I mean, right off the bat, it was an 80,
Yeah.
So it was like, we just had to see, okay, we want fiddle in the third verse and steels in the second verse. And then on the choruses, figure that out. And they figured out who's singing what. And then that fixed it. I'm like, let's play the rest of the hits, guys. And I said that, and everyone like kind of laughed. And I'm like, I'm not joking here. Like, she's got so many songs that we should just be jamming on right now. I want to hear her sing some Luke songs.
Yeah.
Long day.
Yeah. Bro, I know that it was in some of the stuff I was reading, but I can't remember. How long had it been since she had played that song live?
I don't have this off the top of my head. I think she did one thing on TV, like in like 2014 or something.
Yeah.
And that was like, she recorded it like at her house, and it was like for Seth Meyers or whoever late night show. So she hadn't done any like live TV appearances like in a while.
So, I mean, she must have been pretty flattered by the way that Luke did it. I mean, seriously though, like, I mean, if it sucked, she would have been like, no thanks.
Well, so Luke didn't do a music video because she doesn't like people covering music, really. Right? And so Beyonce,
she sued Nicki Minaj.
Yeah, and I think even Beyonce might have done a version of it or wanted to, and they couldn't get the rights to do a video, so they didn't.
Yeah.
And so it was the same with Luke at first, but there's something else that happened that endeared Luke to Tracy, I think.
Yeah, it seemed like Luke always had approached it from a very like grateful standpoint. Like
Absolutely.
Always made Tracy the focus of it, right? And was just kind of like, hey, I'm so honored to be able to, cover such a legendary song by such a legendary artist that everyone respects so much. So I feel like when you approach it from that way, you're kind of letting that person have all the glory of it. It's easier for people like Tracy to say yes to something like that. I feel like you catch more flies with honey, I guess. I mean,
always, man.
Yeah,
always, for sure. And also another fun fact, I don't know if people know this or not, but it was supposed to be a surprise.
Really?
Yeah. And so Cappy again was like, hey, just don't post anything, blah blah blah. Don't take photos. Don't mess this up. You know.
Yeah.
To our little skeleton crew that we had, and to the one guy that was playing with her. And then I woke up. I checked my phone in L.A. for the second day of rehearsals, I think, and Cabby was like, "It got leaked." It was like 7 a.m. I was like, and I immediately went to my Instagram story and I just like looked at what I posted and deleted everything. And it was like me going for a jog. That was it. Like it wasn't. I didn't post anything about it. I was a good boy. Thanks.
Yeah, but just in case.
Yeah.
Kinda...
And so we don't. I'm not sure. It was the deep state, dude.
Yeah.
I don't know who. Someone leaked it, but the idea was the original, and I guess this was. I don't know whose idea this was. Maybe it was also Cappy's, but the video starts the live performance and it's just her hands, so you couldn't see what was going on, and then it's supposed to zoom out, then you see it was Tracy.
Yeah,
that was the vibe.
Oh,
so they still kept that like video cut, but it was supposed to be like this is like a thing.
Yeah. Did I read it right that the band that she used outside of you has always been her band?
They all have toured with her, and like I said, the bass player and the drummer did play on the first record. Okay. And then like Joe toured with her after that, and so did Larry.
Like no shot she keeps a band on salary, right?
No way. No, these guys. I mean, they like I said, like Larry played for like Bob Dylan for like 10 years, and they all have done equally like badass stuff.
Yeah.
Like it was just the band. We were in our green room, and I was looking at who's playing the Grammys. And who was not Janice, who's the older chick that played it?
The Heads Carolina?
No.
The Grammys. Sorry, I was thinking of the Seaman.
I gotta Google this real quick.
It's a great question.
All right, hold on.
Jamie, pull that up.
Yeah, I
Jamie?
wish, dude. What year is it? 2024.
Barely.
I want to fuck this up. Anyway, it's like not Janis Joplin, but
yeah, it's not Janis Joplin.
Let me just Google this. Joni Mitchell. Thank you. Oh my God. So I was like, oh my God, Joni Mitchell's playing this. And then one of the guys in the band goes, "Oh, Larry, do you still talk to her?" And I was like, the bass player Larry, I'm like, "Oh, like you toured Joni Mitchell?" He's like, "No, we were married for 10 years and I was her producer." And I was like, oh. Ooh.
Yeah, I always hated her. Bye.
No, nothing like. He's like, "Oh yeah, we still get dinner like once a year or whatever." And then I was like, I need to go on these guys' Wikipedia pages because they have Wikipedia pages. I do not.
I'll make you one.
Thank you. But
yeah, we'll make it say weird stuff.
It'll be like Kurt Ozon played steel on After Midtown's debut record. That's it. But it was like he's like won multiple Grammys and like has produced and played with Herbie Hancock and played with whoever else. I was just like, man, I'm a scrub compared to these guys. Like,
not really, just different time too, bro. But I mean, kind of a scrub,
a little bit.
But like, I'll tell you right now, I don't want no scrubs.
Yeah.
To be honest with you.
Well, you're in a room with a couple here, so
no. But dude, it's a different time though, bro. Like, I mean, 20 years ago, you had bands.
Yeah.
I mean, and I mean, even with like singular artists, people knew who like their supporting cast was, if you will. You know, if you were a Fall Out Boy fan, like how people liked Pete more than what's his name, Patrick Stump, is it? Like I don't
know, dude.
But I mean, it's just it's a little different back then than it is now. You know what I mean? I feel like
especially in the country world,
especially in the country world, dude.
Yes.
Yeah, that's always been a strange thing to me because you see, I understand everything's a business and I understand the business side of it, but I've always told my band, you know, like if the Lord sees it fit that we're, you know, on the top of the world one day, like I want them to be the highest paid in the industry. I know that sounds like pretty to say, but the thing is
Bro,
like,
I love that.
Yeah.
The thing is though, I think something that's always been strange to me is like, I never grew up dreaming about like money or anything like that. Like, which by the way, I don't have any. That's not what I'm saying. I have so much to prove.
Yeah.
But it's funny to me because just because I'm the one that sings and you're the one that plays guitar doesn't mean that I love music more than you.
Right.
Or doesn't mean that we had a different dream. I'm pretty sure it seems like we had the same dream, right? Like we're, you know, like I'm pretty sure you and Luke probably had the same dream, right? So it's always been interesting to me that some dudes, I'm talking a little shit here, some dudes will like put put their band on salary. Like, oh yeah, I'll make $10 million a year, and you make $60K, and I'll come home for Christmas and look your parents in the face and tell them Merry Christmas. Like, no, dude, like that's tough. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just think that's wrong. Also, like if you have a long enough and illustrious enough career, you would hope that those guys don't have to do anything after that. Right? So can you just make sure that they don't? And I think even like get creative with it, dude. Like they're putting in just as much time and effort into touring as you are. You know what I mean? So make sure they have a piece of something forever. Like give them 2% of a master on something. You know, give them something forever.
Let them get an album cut, you know?
Yeah, let them get an album cut.
Make the music worse. No, I'm just kidding.
Makes the music so much worse.
That's why I mean
that does need restructured though in some way.
Yeah.
In some way it does.
I mean, Luke has just been. I've gotten to work for like a lot of great artists, and I've been thankful that I've been taken care of. I've never had any weird things, or I've never been out on the road making $125 a day.
Right.
And so I've always had great experiences. You know, working for Jana, she paid better than some artists did at the time that had like multiple number ones. And Mike, we had like retirement plans with like salary match and stuff like that, but Luke has always just really taken care of us. And like through coronavirus, like we were on full salary.
That's amazing.
So I was just sitting at home with my box wine and playing video games.
Chain smoking premium cigars with me.
Yeah.
Well, I think like the biggest misconception that a lot of artists, especially like newer artists, have is, you know, you run into your first little tiff or something with your guitar player, your drummer, and they're like, well, bro, like there's 100 more of you out there. Like, okay, that's true, right?
No, it's not. Luke, don't listen to that.
No.
True, though.
Whilst that may be true, the right group of guys together is priceless, dude.
Chemistry.
Priceless.
And
Yes,
it's not the
man.
best players all the time.
No. I would so much rather have. But also, let's be honest. Like, dude, I don't care if you shred Eruption or not. Like, if you can play my shit good, and we're friends anyways.
Yeah.
Like, I'm incapable of not being friends with the people I work with,
Yeah.
for better or for worse. I just can't do it. You know, you see some people that are like, like their tour manager just like fires a guitar player or something, and they never talk again. I'm like, how do y'all do that, dude?
Yeah.
Like, also, fuck you. You know.
The business side's hard. I mean, it's weird on every end. I know Kurt has talked about it a lot, but it's like sometimes when the artist grows, the bands don't grow with them, and that's a tough point.
Yeah.
You know?
Yes, 100%.
But I just think in general, though, like whilst there are a lot of variables, I just think in general, hired gun musicians should be given more respect in town.
Yeah.
And in the industry in general, because you think there's 100 more of them, but there's only one that fits with you. And when you find that, fucking keep it, dude.
Yeah,
because
it feels great.
It is incredible. And it comes down to all the little stuff too. Like, I don't want that guy that's a dickhead in the airport at 5 a.m. because it's early. Like, dude, it sucks for all of us.
We're
like,
all hungover.
somebody crack a joke and like, let's get on with it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, I mean, same reason we're friends, you know? Like,
100%.
it's just...
Who do you want to share your life with, man? Like, who do you want to share those road moments when you're in a freaking van? And then when you're in a bus, you know?
You're in a metal tube flying down the highway for sure.
Yeah, and every single big artist that I've ever talked to, and I'm sure they've said it to you guys too, like, they always say the fun times are the come up.
Oh, yeah.
Right? So, dude, cherish it. Also, don't bring someone along for the come up if you're not going to staying with them on the mountain. That would suck, dude.
Well, I will say also, just to be on the opposite side of the coin, even though I'm a band guy, it's that the respect is a two-way street.
Totally.
And if you're listening to this and you're a musician and you want to be a band guy like me when you grow up or whatever, it's like you can't be late to the bus call.
No.
You can't be too drunk. You can't not learn the music. You have to do the work to be given this job. And it's not the easiest, and it's like definitely not the safest. So it's like there's so little room for error that you can't be fucking up this easy stuff.
No.
Like, do not be late to the airport and like get the bus call on time and whatever all the things are that you have to do that. If you have to have roll mic cables and mic your own amp and stuff because you only have one crew guy, been there. Then that's what you got to do sometimes.
Yeah, I was gonna say, do you want to talk about it? Like,
Sounds like he does.
brother used to tell me in the Army, right place, right time, right uniform, and you're pretty much set, right? And
Yeah.
I feel the exact same way about.
So right place, bus call, right time, bus call, right uniform, a lot of denim and keys on your side, and all the band guys look the same.
Black
so there you
yeah,
go. That's good advice. There you go.
it's the truth, bro. It's the truth. But also, you gotta really love it. Like, dude, if you don't really love it, please go do something else. I promise you'll be happier.
Yeah, go play on Broadway, man.
Do you think anything from your military background has helped you in the music industry?
Oh my gosh, dude, without a doubt. Yes. And I think it's taken time to realize that, you know? Definitely mental toughness.
Yeah.
Right? Like I think one of my I was pretty average at everything, you know, in the military. Like I was never like the PT stud guy. I was just average, you know what I mean? But I always felt like I had good mental toughness, you know, and something it's as simple as, you know, you're on like the 24th mile of that 25th, or you're on the 24th mile of that 25-mile ruck march, and you know, you start telling yourself in your head, like, your body is capable of so much more than your mind thinks it is. Your body's capable of so much more than your mind thinks it is, which is so true. And you don't know that until you've been there, right?
100%.
Like, it's just like they say, like UFC fighters, they're like, I'm going to take you in deep fucking waters, right? Bro, if you've never been in deep waters, you don't know what that feels like, right? But I know it's a pretty extreme comparison, but dude, the highs are high and the lows are low. And I know that sounds good, and everyone has heard that, and everyone understands that, but you don't really get it until you've been to that low. I'm not talking about where you think is low. You'll know when you get there, okay? Yeah. And that high is higher than you could ever think. Like, dude, every artist has been guilty of this sometimes, dude. Like, you think you're the coolest shit in the world one day, and then the next day you're like, oh, I guess I suck, you know, and vice versa. But I think being in the Army prepared me for those moments. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm an emotional guy. I write music. I feel all those things. And some days I want to make every phone call in the world and wonder why something's not happening. And some days I want to call everybody and thank them. And but being able to ride that wave and sustain it is a different thing, right? And I mean, it comes with in any business, man, in any entrepreneur. In any type of entrepreneur business, you're going to have that, right? Like, the bad days are bad. I mean, dude, I know, you know, for like in your shoes, I know guitar players or whatever that have gotten fired from what they thought was the best gig of the world. And then they take 6 months, restructure how they're doing things and strengthen their relationships, and then they get their dream gig. But I promise you, in that 6 months, there were some lows, dude, right? Yeah. And you see every artist, you see so many artists that have like the #1 song in the world, and then they don't have one for 3 years. That's hard.
Or maybe ever again.
Or maybe ever again. Yeah. Dude, I always say, I'm like, no matter how this shit goes for me, because I've been in town for a while. Like, people here know me and stuff, but I've got so much to prove. Like, I feel like this is the very beginning for me. But no matter what happens, like, dude, I'm going to end this with a ton of cool stories to tell. You know what I'm saying? So you got to know what you want out of it, and you can't be disappointed when you don't win every day, because you're not going to. And I think the other thing that I've taken from it is just how to live your life when things do suck, right? They would always say in the Army, I like the Army, right? Like, I wasn't somebody that didn't like it, but they would always tell the guys that didn't like it, like, hey, dude, your fastest ticket out of here is to just shut up, do your time, and be squared away and get out when you're supposed to get out. It's as simple as that, right? Because, you know, most contracts are like 3, 4, 5 years, whatever.
Yep.
Dude, I feel like I ride out the shitty times of my life with that mindset. You know, like, dude, when it sucks, it's gonna suck. Like, as lame as it sounds, like, bitching about it's not gonna make it better. You know,
go do it.
And I also learned that there's a lot of different walks of life in this world, right? Yes. And Nashville's a good example of that too. I mean, there's people from all over the place here, but dude, not everybody grew up the way you did, right? Like, not everybody. I mean, dude, when I was going to school, like, there was one black person in my school, right? One black person in my school. And then like probably like half my company in the Army was, and my very best friends, my first duty station was Germany, and I had 2 best friends, and one of them was a black dude, right? The other one was a German guy. They're still some of my best friends today. Like one of them actually just visited, and man, especially like in this genre, you can have like some pretty close-minded people sometimes. And dude, I'm not saying like, you know, like whatever you believe in is what you believe in, but also just have an open mind, because you never know, dude. Like you also just never know what people are going through or what their walk of life is, man. Like I remember this one dude I was in basic training with, dude. I couldn't stand him for like 7 weeks, like the first 7 weeks. I fucking hated this kid. And then we sat down one day because we were bored, and he was like telling me about why he is the way he is.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, okay, I get that, you know. But I've definitely taken some things from it. It's a unique experience. I was just like curious about it, so I joined up, and it was a fucking blast, dude. I got stationed in Germany at 18 years old. That was pretty tight.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, you always see like sports and athletics kind of transfer over to like music, but it seems like the military would be another thing that kind of like could help with that. And I think, again, it's like you have a passion for it, you have dedication. Like that's all stuff that really has to have deep roots to work in the music business. And it's funny too, like even me, like I'm not an artist, I'm not a songwriter or anything like that, but like
but you're in the trenches, dude. You get it.
The highs are high and the lows are low. And if you can't, the key is when you're down low to go up as fast as you can, you know, and when you're to realize that it is going to go up, right? And that's, I think, not just the music business, but the life in general, you know, in this world.
I always told myself, I remember the day I got out of the Army, I was like, you know what? No matter what else happens in my life, I'm going to do my best to not bitch about it that much, because nothing will ever suck as bad as some of those days did, right?
Yeah.
So it's like,
doubt.
you know what, like, dude, that song didn't turn out the way you wanted it to. Like, okay, cool. Try again tomorrow. Like, it's not, you know, it's not life or death.
It's
here.
music, not war and shit.
Yeah.
Which I also think is an interesting thing, man. Like, people put musicians on pedestals and artists on pedestals. And it's like, it's kind of a dumb thing to be good at the end of the day, right? like my stepdad, my stepdad was a guy that put his nose down and grinded every day, you know, working so many doubles at the steel factory, all this stuff. And it's not that he didn't have dreams or anything. He just did what he needed to make sure that we needed everything. You know what I mean? I am not cut from that same fabric, and I realize that, but I'm envious of it, right? Like, don't get me wrong, I can grind at something that I love, but I have to love it. But, dude, you want to talk about hard-nosed ass disciplined men are ones that go grind at something that they don't even fucking like because it's necessary.
Yep.
So when I say that music's kind of a dumb thing to be good at, like that's what I mean. You know, you see dudes that just, you know, do that, and you're like, damn, I wish I was good at that, man. Like, not because I want to do that, I just wish I had those qualities.
Yeah.
You know?
I remember working 2 years at the factory, the glass factory that my dad worked at pretty much my whole adult life. Like summer between my senior year of high school and my freshman year of college, and then the one after. And I realized how much I didn't want to do that.
Yeah, dude.
And I realized like what my dad really did to feed our family, right? And I realized how much of there's no way that he could like doing it, you know?
Yeah. I've always said that because, I mean, understandably so, when I decided I wanted to play music full time, my parents weren't thrilled. You know, I mean, it's like making it to the NFL. What are the chances, right? And for a while, I was kind of upset about it because it felt like they weren't supporting me. In reality, they just wanted what was best for me, but it felt like they weren't supporting me. But then I had this, I don't know if I call it like an epiphany, but I just had this thought one day where I was like, man, I was like, my stepdad, it's hard for a person that has never, if you have realized what your dream is, right? I'm not talking about your hobby, I'm talking about your dream. If you have realized what your dream is, it's a gift and a curse, because the gift is that you know what you're put on this planet to do, right? The curse is that you will do anything to chase it, right? But only people that have realized what their dream is and actually chased it can understand that, right? But if you've never realized your true dream, that is impossible to understand. You just don't get why someone is doing that. Yeah. And I had this moment where I was like, dude, he never even got a chance. if he had a dream, he never even got a chance to realize it because he went straight to work, dude. So how could I ever hold that against him? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so,
right.
and I feel like I'm a strong believer in if everyone in this world did if everyone in this world realized their dream and did that, the world would be a better place.
Yeah.
But that's also a dreamland. So
Yeah.
Right. There'll also be a lot more podcasts that no one listens to.
Yeah. Yeah, and there wouldn't be as many freaking fixed toilets. And,
Right.
You know what I mean?
Oh,
Like,
absolutely, bro. Absolutely.
some things are about money, right? Like, and that's becomes a necessity. You know, if you have 3 kids that are reliant on you to
Yeah.
you know, make sure they have food, like of course you're going to do the
Totally.
things as a man or a woman that you have to do to make that work,
Right.
right? And it's again a blessing to be able to get to do something that you do enjoy,
Yeah.
right? It's funny too in town. Like I have a buddy who, you know, is a songwriter, and he was talking about, man, it's really nice to like be able to get to redo this drywall today and not have to like produce songs and write songs.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what a first world problem,
Yeah,
man.
100%.
You know, like it's cool that you have that because that means that really your day to day life is doing something that
Yeah.
if you put down on paper that you were doing it when you were a kid, you would be like, that'd be amazing, you know?
Oh yeah, bro.
But there's reality to all of those dreams too, right? And that the key is to keep that childlike love and that mentality when you're doing all the things when it does get hard or when it doesn't seem like it's working as much.
What's the saying? I don't know if I'm going to say it exactly right, but they say that, you know, tough times create tough men.
Yeah.
Right? Tough men create easy times.
Yep.
Easy times create soft people.
Yep.
Soft people create tough times.
Yep.
It's a vicious cycle, right?
Yep.
I do feel some days that we are in a soft people era.
Yeah.
Right? You know what I mean? So I feel like
We definitely are.
we enjoy a lot of luxuries these days that maybe we wouldn't have
I
been
do.
able to.
Yeah, for sure.
Wouldn't have been able to in the past. But yeah, dude, it's just a different time. But at the same time, I appreciate the shit out of what my parents have done for me.
Same.
So
Same.
yeah.
Love you guys.
like I know Luke's always said that he takes good care of his parents when he can, and like, dude, I got dreams of doing the same. You know, like we'll buy my parents a house someday and be like, told you I'm not an idiot. You know, like maybe I was, but
Yeah.
Or maybe you're an idiot with money now.
yeah, 100%.
Which is the best way to be.
Yeah, just pull up in. No, what I should do is, what we all should do is be like really lame stingy with it. Like pull up in the new Corvette and be like, here's $10.
Yeah.
Happy birthday.
That's not what I do at all.
I want to buy all my friends El Caminos.
Yeah.
What a
That's the
blessing.
most steel guitar player thing I've ever heard. Dude.
That would be sick.
I'll take that El Camino.
I'm
though.
so in on the El Camino, actually. Yeah.
That would be fun.
Well, we've been talking a lot, but let's talk a little bit about the music release. So the most recent single, "Hold Your Horses."
Yes.
Tell us about it, who you wrote it with, and production on it too. I know we talked about production a little bit.
Let's
but
get
like
some
who
names
produced
out
it.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I actually wrote that with Tracy Chapman.
And Luke Combs.
No,
And Fergie.
it was an idea that I had that sat in my phone for like 6 months. Probably, I don't know, about 6 months ago. My parents came down and visited, and that was something they always said to me when I was growing up. You know, like, hey, hold your horses, like, shut your mouth, basically.
Yeah.
And my stepdad, we were just talking about life and things that you do in life and marriage and all of those things, right? And he was in so many words saying, like, you know, when you have the right one, don't wait. You know what I mean? And then I thought about how they'd always told me to hold my horses, and hold your horses just sounded like a title to me. I didn't exactly know what to do with it. And then one day I got in a room with Brian Bunn and Cale Dodds, and I said that title out loud. And sometimes that happens, you know, you'll have an idea for 6 months, and then one day you'll say it out loud and be like, oh wait, I understand exactly how to write this. You know what I mean? And yeah, just it came together that day, and it felt really good because I always love when a good plan comes together. You know what I mean? And I also
A-team,
felt
baby.
like the songwriter in me was fulfilled with the way that it was written. You know, I felt like that was done well, and then it was cool because people liked it on social media and stuff. Like people's gonna use it for like their wedding song and stuff, which is cool because I never really intended it to be that. I just thought it was a nice love song. You know what I mean? Yeah. And it's also probably as traditional as you would hear me. You know, it's a little throwback sounding, but it satisfied all my wants as an artist. You know what I mean?
So who produced it?
Oh, Brian Bunn built the track for it, and Austin, Sean, like executive produced it. Yeah.
Gotcha. Right, and through Austin's how I met you.
Yes.
Is that right?
No. Through me is how you met Austin.
Oh. Well, all right. Well, how did we meet then?
It's probably at a bar somewhere.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know, dude.
Maybe through John or something.
Probably.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate the Austin hookup because I made a bunch of money playing on Bailey's record, so that's great. Appreciate that.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah. No, dude. Austin was. We were kind of like the first artist to work with Austin. Really, that were, you know, we kind of got a little steam and stuff at the time.
Yeah.
And,
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But Austin was still really. I mean, he's still young, but he was like 23 at the time. I think he's only like 26 now.
He's
but
so young.
yeah, he was 23 at the time. And when people were like, "Hey, who's producing you?" we were like, "Austin Sean," and then they would like do some research and be like, "Oh, well, what does this 23-year-old kid know? Like, we need to hook you up with so and so and so and so."
Yeah.
We're like, "Nah,
We good.
We're good." I think we're
good.
like, he really understands what we're trying to do. You know, like really gets the vision, understands the sound, all of those things. And I think it wasn't until we did the song with Colby when they were like, "Okay, we get it," right? And then after that, it just seemed like, well, more people just knew about Austin after that, in town at least, you know what I mean?
Yep.
And he was always that good, though. That's kind of like the point I was making earlier.
He's a very musical person.
Well, yeah, and nobody wants to work with you until there's a success story, right?
Yeah.
And not that I was that success story or anything like that, but my point is he was always that good, you know? So whenever one day I was at Red Door, and I'd always been friends with Chase Matthew, right? But he didn't really have like a lot going on at the time, and he was showing me these songs that he had written, and I was listening to him, and I was like, "Bro, well, who produced these?" And he was like, "Me." I said, "Okay, let me introduce you to my friend Austin." You know, and
Let's fix that. Yeah.
well, dude, you need those friends. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
And
Yeah.
I was like, "Let me introduce you to my friend Austin," and I hit up Austin, and I said, "Hey, bro, will you do like a spot mix on a couple of these songs for me for free, basically? You know, like if you want some
to
money,
show what you do.
yeah, if you want some money, like I'll try to give you some, but please do it. I like Chase." And Austin was like, without hesitation, was like, "Hell yeah, dude," which is also another really important thing if you're listening and you aspire to be any of those things. Dude, take opportunities, right?
100%.
And so Austin took a shot in the dark for the expectation of no money. And pretty sure the first song they ever did together was County Line, which is like now platinum. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And by the way, Chase wrote that by himself. Like that song makes some money. And then this other little redheaded annoying kid, Bailey, came to town. And he was like, "Dude, I need a producer." And I was like, "Bro."
Wait, you put Bailey on Austin? You put Bailey and Austin together?
Yeah.
Bro. That's sick. Also, I played on Chase's record too. So
Yeah,
appreciate
there you
that.
go. But so
You're
you
like
know,
a matchmaker.
yeah, dude. But yeah, so the rest is history there with Austin, and now he's just crushing, dude. I mean, I feel like all of Austin's dreams are coming true. Like Austin, bro, I talk to him all the time still. I mean, he obviously, and never once has Austin talked about money or anything like that. Like every single time when it comes down to it, he's always like, "I just want to make hit records. I just want to make hit records."
He's absolutely doing it.
Yeah,
For sure.
and you know, but that's the mentality you have to have, dude. You take the right stepping stones, the money will always come. It's the long run, not the short way around. Like that's not how that shit works. And then after I had met you and known you for a while, there's not a lot of people that play steel and dobro and stuff like that in town. It's kind of a dying breed, right? So whenever Austin was like, "Do you know any good steel and dobro players?" Like, yes, I do.
No, but I know Kurt Ozon.
Yeah, but I know Kurt. And then no, you guys got together, and the rest is history. There, are you still playing on stuff with Austin?
Yeah, it's been a minute, but yeah, he called me to play on one of the other new Bailey tunes, but I was like in Australia or something.
Yeah. Well, don't worry, there will
terrible
be
day
more.
job you have,
Yeah.
What's
hard,
that?
It's hard to do the session stuff because when people call you for stuff and then you're gone and they call you and you're gone again,
Yeah.
and it's like, all right.
Have you ever? I have 2 questions about this. Have you ever considered taking a rig with you on the road?
I have done that on the road before.
Got you.
I always prefer being in the room,
Of course,
with the producer and with the artist and getting the vibe. And I fly stuff from my house all the time, but it's like you're just in this room by yourself and you're just tracking. And I know guys that will do it all day long and they love that. But I want to know what are they hearing? I'll just send a bunch of stuff and let them pick through it. But it's kind of like I kind of like sitting and composing a part with like a producer, and like when I played on Coley Akos' record, it's like Eddie, who's a great producer, Eddie Spears, like him and I worked through the part. We got it all tracked, and it goes, okay, now you know what to play. Do the whole song in like one pass. And I'm like, okay, cool. Like I'll try. And so it's just like I just feel more creative doing it that way. But I've played on records. When we were on the arena tour, I remember after sound check, I had Zeus, our monitor guy, record me. And I just tracked some stuff that I had to do sitting on the stage in the middle of the arena, which was pretty cool.
Yeah.
That is kind of great.
Second question to that would be,
Whose podcast is this?
whose podcast is this? No, how does that work for you when you do session stuff? Is it a flat fee kind of thing, or what is that?
Yeah, so it depends on the level. You know,
Sure.
if I'm playing on a younger artist's record, then I'll just make up a number, you know, be like, all right, give me this amount of money for a steel track and then extra for dobro or mandolin or whatever. Then when you're playing on masters, like if I'm playing on the new, you know, whatever record, Luke Combs record, then I do it through the union and everything's on the card.
So does that, when you do it like that on like a Luke Combs' record, does that give you something in perpetuity?
Yes. So when I played on One Number Away, it was
Love that song, by the way.
Thanks. I didn't write it, but I did play steel on it.
You like Jason Aldean? Cool. This is not,
So Luke was like, "Hey man, I'm doing this demo. Will you?" And this was 2014 or something. It was a million years ago. And he was like, "Hey, I'm trying to build this demo. I want to put some steel guitar on it. Will you play on this demo?" And he gave me $100. And I was like, "Hell yeah, $100,
got it.
fucking great." And then it was, I think the story is Luke had 2 songs and he was trying to get Taylor Ray Holbrook to cut one of them. And Taylor cut the other one. And so Luke had this other song, One Number Away, and he was like, well, I'll just record it myself and put it on my record because I like the song. And so I played on the demo, and then they went and recut it for the record, and they couldn't capture the vibe of the demo. So the demo is what lives on the record, essentially.
That's
and
cool.
I think Grady went and changed the drums, put real drums. There was like track drums on it. They put real drums on it. So then when that happened, then I got a check for playing it through the union on the card. So I got $100. Then I got my union rate. Then it goes to, there's a special something fun. I can't remember what it's called right now. Bruce Boughton would be able to tell us.
Like SAG after or something?
Yeah, it's the kind of thing where all the money from radio goes, and then depending on how big of a song it is, you get, like, when it goes number 1, it's like you get a check for playing.
Gotcha.
For the people that do it.
I always like to ask those things because as your casual listener, you don't really know that a union exists for something like that. You know what I mean? So it's always a unique question. Nikki, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
If we have time for it. We have time for it?
Oh, yeah.
What do you think? What are some things lately that have happened that you love versus what do you think the biggest challenges right now are for growing Raised Rowdy as a brand?
How much time you got?
Yeah. No, man,
What are some little wins you've had lately?
dude, I mean, this podcast studio for sure.
This podcast guest.
Yeah.
I love you guys.
But it's definitely a challenge because everything just costs so much money.
Yeah.
And it's like, where does that come from? Because, like, trying to figure out how you can do this thing in a way where it's sustainable and monetizable, right?
Yeah, you got to be intentional with every dollar, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And then where's it going to go? So just the vision of the whole thing. And then, like, wins, man. I mean, I think I think in town we have done a great job of like building a community of people that believe in what we're doing and that we believe in. So that I think is like one of our biggest wins. COVID was kind of a cheat code for us because like when I started my round, like, you know, everyone was kind of like hanging around, and all of that work that I did for the 4 or 5 years previous kind of ended up like paying off in quick return. But it's like, how do you sustain that? Like I remember when we had Luke play the writers round at Live Oak, and then we went to Key West like a day and a half later, and everyone's like, well, where do you go from here? And I'm like, down gracefully.
Are you guys going to Key West this year?
Yeah, I am. He's
too,
not.
brother.
He's doing.
I have a gig.
We're gonna
I'll
make
see
you
you there.
We're gonna make you play for us then.
Just quit that gig, dude. Who even cares?
Luke always says, he's like, hey man, like if you get a better gig, like I won't be upset when you leave. Or whatever.
What better gig is there?
Well, I'll tell you the ones I'm considering. If Metallica calls me,
Yeah.
because they gave
Fair.
Rob Trujillo $1 million when he joined.
Do you feel like Metallica has a big need for a steel guitar?
I don't think so, but they do like 1 or 2 acoustic shows for charity, and they have a guy that plays like mandolin
Yeah.
and shit like that. I'm
Well,
like,
that's kind of what you did with Dan
call
and
me.
Shay, isn't it?
Yeah.
yeah, just
sort
go
of.
play with them a little bit, you know.
Yeah, but that's cool. That it's cool also that like Luke's very cool with you doing those things.
Yeah, he's
Why
like-
wouldn't he be?
yeah.
But some people aren't.
Yeah. Actually, I had a really cool thing with the Dan and Shay. There was a day this last year in the summer where I played with Dan and Shay Friday morning, and I played with Luke Friday night.
That's
Isn't that
funny.
fucking crazy?
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
I always say Kurt has the Game Genie on
Yes.
his cartridge. You know?
100%.
Yeah,
He has
dude, I'm
all
Game
the
Genie
of the
up.
good passwords that get him all of the best things.
Yeah.
Nikki, do you ever feel like because you know you guys have been doing this here for a while, just
Yeah.
in town and stuff. Do you ever feel like there's people that are like, oh man, like I'd love to be doing what you do, that don't realize that you've been leading up to this for a long time, right?
Absolutely.
Like you guys went to every fucking show. You went to, you know, just really out boots on the ground, making relationships and
Yeah.
nurturing those relationships, etc.
Absolutely, dude. And also people don't realize that like, okay, I started this thing in 2017, but I was just putting money into it until like 2020.
Yeah.
Right? So like literally we were just putting money into the thing. And like where do people think the money comes from? Right?
Yeah.
It's
Buy a hat, people.
yeah, like you know what I mean? And realistically, like our marketing budget that we have comes from selling merch or having writers rounds and stuff. So it's like it's definitely a challenge. Everybody thinks that it's a cool job, and that's because it is a cool job.
Right.
But at the same time,
Well,
it
that's what
comes
it's
with
tears though, bro.
yeah, it comes with 7 years of doing it before I could even start to think about doing it full time. And while doing it full time, still worrying about, can we pay this podcast studio's rent?
Sure.
You know, like everything that we do, every level up that we do comes with an additional layer of responsibility tied to it.
And risk.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and risk.
It's you ever see those people that, first of all, I know you have, but you ever meet those people in town that you've known for years at this point, and you're like, how do you make money?
Yeah.
Like, what do you do exactly? They've never quite given you a straight answer.
Yeah.
For several years. You know?
Nepo babies.
Yeah,
Yeah, for
yeah.
sure.
Dude, that's whatever it is. Can you tell me about it?
Yeah.
Like, you know.
Could you like tell me a little? Yeah.
But it's been cool, dude, because I feel like being here for several years. Let me try that again. Being here for several years, I've been able to, you know, as I've kind of walked my path, I've been able to watch other people walk theirs too.
Yeah.
You know, so this is cool. I mean, dude, just to be sitting here today, this used to be in like the spare room at the house.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Which even then, that was still cool. So doing this, I mean, dude, how many people get a podcast space and stuff? You know, and I mean, dude, there's only so many steel guitar / utility gigs out there, and you have the best one available. Like, what are the chances? You know what I mean?
Yep.
So just watching that stuff is really, really cool to me. I think I appreciate that now more than ever. Kind of now that I've been in town for several years and got my feet wet and had a trip around the block, I think I'm able to manage my own expectations for my career and my artistry well enough to be able to, you know, to watch my friends every now and again. And so that shit's been really cool to see, dude.
Well, thanks. I mean, I appreciate you saying that, and I appreciate you having us on. And
No, when we were like talking about podcast guests, and he was like, "Can we have Rotundo on like right now?" And I was like, "Absolutely."
Yeah.
Honestly,
Thanks,
the
baby.
hat too. I thought you would have a crazier hat on. You
I
are
almost
like
did.
the king of the crazy hats, and I love it.
I almost wore
envious.
the Mama Needs a Cocktail hat today.
dude, I
So
feel
great.
that vibe.
Yeah,
I got to hold your horse's hat,
yeah.
which kind of feels
I saw.
like,
I saw an Instagram ad for that. Like it was like,
yeah.
I'm not gonna hold my horse. I'm like, I'm gonna send this. I'm like, enough people have sent this to you that he doesn't need one more person.
Yeah, that one feels like I'm wearing my own merch.
Yeah.
Bro, and then I got I have one that says "Don't panic, I'm Hispanic,"
Yeah.
and then I've got another one that says "Don't blame me, I voted for Bush."
Yeah.
It was like a $5 vintage store pickup. It pisses people off, dude.
Oh, yeah.
You would be shocked. Like I do everything. It's like, dude, it's just the comedy of it. Like it's just a funny hat to me,
Yeah.
right? Like I don't care which way you went. No matter which way you went back then, we were probably better off back then, right? But what I'm saying is like, dude, there's people at the gas station. Some guys will be like, hell yeah. And then the other people will be like, fuck you. Like, dude, I was in 8th grade. Like,
Yeah,
this
I
is
was
just
a
a funny,
child, yeah.
this is just a funny hat I found at the store,
It
dude.
was $7,
you know?
and I thought it made me smile.
Yeah, that purchase had to have made the guy working the counter laugh, because when I was at that vintage store, I bought two things. I bought that hat and I bought a Fall Out Boy from Under the Cork Tree CD. Like, what a $10 well spent.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah. The
No
best
doubt, bro.
$10. But man, yeah, and one of the things that makes me so excited about being here and being in this town is getting to be involved in this thing, right? Like that's been as a music fan for my whole life. Like
Yeah.
it's literally like a dream. Like, I mean, I worked at a fucking record label for a year and a half. Like didn't end exactly
Dirty
great.
suit.
but
Dirty suit
Oh,
alert.
I remember when I got that job, Boogie was like, "You realize you're a suit now," and I'm like, "Yeah, I'm just one that wears jorts." You know,
But dude, that experience though is valuable to what you're doing.
so
now.
valuable.
Yeah.
I wouldn't trade it for the world.
No, and somebody that works so closely with artists all the time, I feel like any insight into what they go through is beneficial, right?
Yes.
You know, and yeah, I think, dude, I spend time on that stuff all the time. I try to learn a lot about what everyone else is doing. You know, you think you're the most important shit in the world until one day you wake up and realize that that's not how the world works.
Yeah.
And you've got to learn how to fit into other people's lives, however that works out. You know, it's like there's almost like an unspoken hierarchy in this town,
Yeah.
right? Like,
Oh, it's spoken.
yeah, you know, it's but it's like, dude, down to like, I mean, you got the A&R people and stuff like that. Like, dude, instead of like, they have a job too. You know
Oh,
what I
yeah,
mean? And like, they have a
absolutely.
life, and they have problems, and they have little wins, and they have losses, and all
Absolutely.
these things. So it's like, you have to find a way to fit into all that.
Yes. And honestly, I'm super thankful to just get to be fitting in on it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like thinking about my life now compared to, and I loved Pittsburgh and I had a great life there too, but like just getting to think about the things that I get to experience now that were literally just a dream of mine, and getting to turn so many things that I spend all of my money from my day job doing
Yeah.
now as a day job,
Yeah.
you know,
Well,
is
Feels
like
good.
such a blessing.
Everyone always loves where they're from and stuff, and like that's cool. But I still can't help but feel like what we're living through in Nashville today, and what we have lived through in Nashville, one day will be talked about like Sunset in the '80s.
Yeah.
Whoa,
You
that's
know?
a cool thought.
So
Well.
I mean, dude,
And Red Door's the Rainbow Room?
yeah. Well, dude, think
Sick.
about it. Think about it, right? Like, what was the cool part? Everyone that talks about like Sunset in the '80s and early '90s and stuff, the cool part of them, oh shit, man, I saw Van Halen playing at the Viper Room or whatever, right? Like that was a cool thing,
Yep.
bro. You can walk down the street tomorrow and watch Chris Young play 2 songs at whatever.
Yeah.
Like, where else does that happen? I'll
Nowhere.
answer for you. It doesn't, right?
Yeah.
So it's it's the only other time and place that I can think of that's happening.
Yeah.
So I think about that a lot. Like, I'm a
That's cool, man.
big legacy guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I hope that you know, I hope we all have the success that we want to have, and one day we get talked about like that. That'd be sick. And if someone makes a documentary and I don't get to at least have like a 10-second bit in it, fuck you.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you guys missed it. We were trashed at Red Door, man, all the time, man. Yeah.
Yep, that's how it goes.
It does be like that sometimes on those Midtown jobs, you know.
Oh, brother.
After.
After Midtown, though.
I have one more question for you guys.
Yeah.
Okay.
Kurt,
Yes.
Nick,
Yeah.
if you could go back in time and listen to one album for the first time again, what would it be?
Ooh. Why don't you tell us yours? You have to know it if you asked it.
I'll go first. I remember the first time I listened to Master of Puppets, it changed my my expectations of what music could be.
Yeah.
I was like, I didn't know music could be this good when I was like a kid and like in middle school.
Yeah.
And I was like, holy shit, like this is awesome. Music is really good. I kind of thought music was like cool, but like,
Yeah.
so probably that.
I think for me, if I'm talking about my childhood, the Singles soundtrack, which was like kind of like a grunge rock compilation album almost. It was like the Seattle scene. I'm older.
Yeah.
But that, because it was like a statement in time of these bands that are all in the same sphere but aren't the same. And then if we're talking about in like my country life, the Zac Brown Foundation album like really
Interesting.
opened my heart to rock, to country, from like I was previously like more of like rock leaning and like even like rap leaning. So that 2012 Foundation album like really like is what really dove me into the country pool.
Yeah.
So
I have a hard time deciding. Well, I have like an uncountry one
Yeah.
and then a country one. I would say that my country one would be Montevallo by Sam Hunt. I just thought it was like a production clinic, and the way that Sam Hunt writes songs, I really appreciate.
Didn't that record cost like $24,000 to make or something incredibly
I
low?
think that's Between the Pines, the one before.
The acoustic
The
mixtape?
acoustic one.
Yeah.
Oh.
I don't know. But yeah, I felt like that was like a slight like era change.
Yeah.
Right? You know, and I just thought it was cool as shit. And then the other, my non-country one would be probably like either one of the My Chemical Romance records. I don't know if it's 3 Cheers for Sweet Revenge or if it's the Black Parade.
Yeah.
But I've always been interested in like all their music videos and stuff. Even the extras in their music videos had character bios and ages and where they're from, like really depthy things. And something that I've always carried with me is like, you know, you see some artists and stuff in today's age that have done well for themselves, but, you know, don't sell 1 million tickets and stuff like that. And you wonder why that is, right? Like, I'm obsessed with whatever quality it is that an artist or band has that takes fans to super fans, right? Like, what is it that takes you from being a big band to an era-defining band?
Yeah.
And, like, one of the only solid things I've been able to come up with thus far is content rabbit holes, right? Like 21 Pilots. There's a ton of depth to their content and like conspiracies around the way that they release content. If I'll send you guys a video on it to watch in your own time.
Yeah.
Send it. Yeah.
It's really, really cool.
Coheed and Cambria.
Dude, totally.
Yeah.
Rush.
Yeah.
Limp Bizkit.
Think about Tool with like
Oh,
their
they're
visuals,
the epitome of
you know?
that for sure.
Slipknot.
Yeah,
for example.
absolutely.
But you know, not enough people like country artists in general, like without content, you're just a face kind of, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like you kind of have to give, I think you need to
depth.
give that content. Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure, dude.
I always talk like when we're talking to people, we, you know, of course work with a lot of, you know, younger artists and people that like haven't made it yet. And I'm like, what of the things that make you are you willing to give, and how much of that are you willing to give? Right. And that's your personality. That's the same thing with social media. Like, what are you willing to do on social media? Like, you're hilarious. When you're on a podcast that's long format, it all comes out. But how can you catch that in 90 seconds? And I think you're doing a good job of that and building that into your content.
Well, that's what's difficult about TikTok too. Is like
Yeah.
I'm kind of when it comes to music, I would consider myself like a little artsy,
Mm-hmm.
right? So sometimes it can be tough to squeeze that art down into a 30-second, or at least get you to listen long enough for the payoff.
Right. Yeah.
Right. And that can be difficult, but it's the same thing with anything, dude. It's the same thing with these podcasts. Like, you better find the most interesting 30 seconds and clip that into your TikTok and blah, blah, blah.
We have the computers to do that.
Yeah.
God bless the robots.
But yeah, sometimes that can be difficult for sure. Also, there can be a fine line as an artist in discovery mode. Like, you need to make sure you're artist first, and like funny guy second, or artist first and whatever you're into second. You know, like when Ernest started his podcast during COVID and stuff.
Yeah,
I was like, for a second there, because I've always known how great Ernest is as a songwriter and artist. You guys have known that.
Yep.
But you have seen people where people start recognizing them for the thing that they aren't.
Yeah.
Or, you know what I mean?
Are, but not
Yes.
the thing.
Yeah, like it would be easy for people to recognize, because Ernest's podcast got like fairly popular there for a while. I don't know if he still does it or not.
It was the biggest or second biggest in genre for sure.
Yeah, and it's like it would be easy for a casual fan that stumbled upon it to just like him as a podcaster and not his music.
Yep.
So I think you gotta be careful with that shit.
Intentional, man. And that's what I mean, one of the blessings of getting to work in the marketing department at a label like Big Loud is like you got to see the eyes on that.
Yeah.
And I wasn't even in most of those meetings, but just overhearing enough.
Yeah.
There's intention in almost everything that's done, you know, and you can do that yourself. You just have to take a step back and really like dig into it. You know, if you have a team around you, there's 30 people able to like give you kind of solid advice that's worked for other people. But like you can do that in your own head, but you have to be mindful to do it. If you're just trudging along, moving forward, it doesn't work. You really have to take a step back and think about what you're doing, think about what you want to put out, how you want to put it out, and then build a plan to push forward.
We're so mature now.
Yeah, dude.
It's unbelievable, dude.
I don't even smoke crack anymore.
Yeah.
I wouldn't go that far.
Bro, thank you for coming on and hanging with us.
I love
Thank
you
you for
guys.
being our first podcast in the new space.
I'm
man.
actually freaking honored, dude.
Yeah,
like
we appreciate
I
you.
think one day we'll look back and I'll be like, wow, Rotundo is so cool.
Yeah.
Because he was the first one in here.
Kind of
Yes.
like how we had Lainey on, and now she's like won Grammys and stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Grammys are cool.
Dude,
Have you?
I've also learned, dude, I'd love a Grammy. Yeah. I've also learned that like I should probably get hotter. You know what I mean? Like
Good looking, you mean?
Yeah, dude. I
Yes.
think like that would really help. Like
I
my
mean,
buddy
being good looking doesn't hurt anything. you
Yeah, it's
know?
not the worst problem.
Yeah.
yeah, like what you guys know Tucker Wetmore?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I've always known Tucker, right? Like because he was really good friends with Jacob.
Yep.
And Tucker's always been so nice.
Yeah.
But he never really put out any music, right? And then like you see him doing these like videos that are going viral, and you know he's like lifting his shirt up, he's got his abs and shit. He's like really good looking dude. And today he posted he was like 77 on the Billboard Hot 100 or whatever on his first release. And I messaged him and I was like, I'm gonna tell you right now, like if you were fat, you'd be like 80 at best. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Man.
But boys, I freaking love y'all. Seriously, thanks for having me.
Dude, we
coming
love
and
you,
hanging
man.
with you.
Thank you for being here with us and hanging. And this is probably one of our longer pods we have done, but it's a great pod.
Yeah, I have to drive to Alabama after this and go
Roll
to
Eagle or whatever.
Yeah, true.
Go to kurtozan.com to watch them smoke cigars.
No, what? Give us a little social media thing and blah blah blah. If anyone's made it this far,
My Instagram is @therotundo and my TikTok is @rotundo, and that's pretty much all I use these days.
all right.
To be honest
What's
with
your
you.
phone number?
Yeah, area code.
666.
It's actually
4444.
865-409.
Yeah.
1021.
8675309.
281-330-8004.
Well, guys, I'm Nikki T,
I'm Kurt Ozon,
and we'll see you in the front row.